All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, maybe even good evening, depending on which part of the country or the world you're joining us from. Coach Kevin Sparks here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is share my screen with you and point out some things that will be helpful. I'd like to point out that we have a Facebook group that matches up with our meetup group, and it has the same name, Live Law of Attraction, Money, Wealth, and Success Training. And we would love to invite you to come join us. The way to find us is just log into your Facebook account, look for your search function, and start typing in Live Law of Attraction, Money, Wealth, and Success Training. You'll find us, ask to join us, and we'll be happy to have you. The other way to find us is you can go directly to facebook.com/groups, that is plural, /money manifesting coach as one word. So again, that is facebook.com/groups, that's plural, /money manifesting coach as one word. Now, why would you want to join the Facebook group? Well, we record these Zoom meetings, and typically within 24 to 48 hours after we have a meeting, it is posted in the group. So let's say, let me show you. There was yesterday, and there was the day before, and there was the previous Friday. So you can go back into the group, and if you've attended a meeting or missed a meeting, if you've attended one, you really liked it, you want to go back and review it, this is how you can do that. If you missed a meeting and you want to get caught up with what we're doing, that's another way that you can do that, so that you can be up to date with whatever is going on with the group, okay? The next thing I want to point out to you is we are in the process of going through a book right now. So here's what we do. We go through some form of training every single day. Sometimes we have a piece of material that we're working on, that we're training on, that maybe it just takes a day to go through. Okay. Sometimes we have something that takes 2 or 3 days to go through. Sometimes we have something that might take a week or longer to go through. Okay. What I like to do though, is whenever we are going through any material, is do the best I can to provide you with a copy of it so you can have it for yourself. Not that you need to go out and buy it or anything. Okay. I try and find ways to get it to you for free. I tend to own the
I don't have your voice. I cannot hear you.
part of my life and a part of the training that I went through to have the successes that I enjoy these days. I was actually trained by a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor. Don't know if you've heard of Bob or not, but Bob has written his own book called You Were Born Rich. And if you've seen the movie The Secret or read the book The Secret, Bob is heavily highlighted in those books. He's actually been involved in the personal development field coming up on 60 years. He's actually going to be 87 years old this July. And he first came across his first coaching and mentorship back in 1961. And after having success as a business person himself, he has now spent about 51, 52 years of mentor, and many of the people in his organization I interact with on a regular basis and say that they are just awesome. Anyhow, I want to point out this particular book right now that we're going through. So what we are doing right at this moment, we've been together now for about a month and a week, maybe a month and a half. And we've been going through different things, helping you guys understand how to manifest more money and wealth in your life. We started out by essentially going through what was the formula for doing so. And after diving deep into that and spending about a week and a half, 2 weeks on that, We did a few other things that was a day here, a day there. But then we dove into the laws of the universe that actually govern manifesting money and wealth in your life. A lot of people think that those laws, they think of the law of attraction, but they don't actually because you need to understand the formula, so to speak. You need to understand how God and the universe operate and how you can work with them instead of against them to receive what you want. And you have to have control to some extent of the programming of your mind, particularly your subconscious mind, or your subconscious mind is going to sabotage you in the process of trying to manifest and the money and wealth you want in your life and the goals that you're trying to hit and achieve. You won't have those if your subconscious mind, even if you know the step-by-step processes, even if you know exactly how to obey the laws, if your subconscious mind's programming is in opposition to you receiving whatever it is that you want to have manifest in your life, you won't get it. So we're going through this book that was written by a gentleman by the name of Joseph Murphy. It's an older book. It was written quite a while back, but he is one of the best. He understood and understands. He's passed, since, but he has a better understanding of how the subconscious mind works and how to explain to other people how it works than just about anybody that's ever lived. Okay. So we're going through his book because he explains exactly what's going on, how you became programmed the way you are, and how to go about changing that programming so that you get the results that you want. I'm going to show you right now how to get a free copy of this book. What I did to find one is I just went into Google and I typed in the Power of Your Subconscious Mind PDF. So that's what you're going to go do if you want to. You're going to go to Google and type in the Power of Your Subconscious Mind PDF. Now, I went through many files and looked at a lot of them. Things that pop up that looks like this. It says the Power of Your Subconscious Mind dash the Logo Center. It's going to come from a website called thelogocenter.org. Don't worry about that. Don't concern yourself with that. Here's what happens when you click on that link. It actually pulls up right to the book. And then if you would like to go ahead and download it, save it to your device so you can read it when you're not on the internet, you're welcome to do that. I want to ask a quick favor. There'll be time for us to interact and talk with each other throughout what we're doing at the appropriate time. But if you are not currently on mute, could you please put yourself on mute? Okay, check your microphone, please. Make sure that you're on mute, and then we will have time to interact with each other. We're going to leave 10 to 15 minutes at the end of what we're doing here to be able to share what we want to share and ask whatever questions we want to ask. So we'll have plenty of time for that. I just want to make sure things are quiet for right now so it's not disruptive to myself or the people that are listening. Okay, now you know how to get a free copy. Now you can come follow us on page 40. It's page 40 of the PDF file. I don't know if it's page 40 of the actual book itself, but that doesn't.
Kevin, can I just say something real quick? And I experienced that last time also, and this time, that you're speaking on your end, but it just keeps quiet completely. It just goes no sound from your end. And then it just after interruption, then it comes back again. So I don't know, there's something there on your end in your system that just kind of blocks the audio. So we can't hear a thing. I'm sure you're speaking on your end. Just wanted to bring it up. The same thing is happening today as well. So I'm going to put myself on mute, but just wanted you to be aware of this problem that's going on in these meetings. So thank you.
I am aware the internet provider out here is Cox. And Cox has been having some problems and doing some work in our neighborhood the last few days. So I know it's going on. I can't always tell when I cut out. I apologize. I could cancel the meetings for a week till everything works, but I've decided to keep moving forward with it. But the recordings, interestingly enough, I found are pretty much picking up what I'm saying. But I apologize about that. So that is what's happening. Hopefully you can hear me right now. I'm going to step away for 1 second, though, to grab myself a glass of water. My mouth's getting dry, and then we will get rolling into this. But I do appreciate you making me aware of what's going on. I'm 100% aware. We've connected and asked Cox to do something about it. And they've been doing work, and it just hasn't been working. They're not finished with whatever they're doing, but I apologize. Okay. Mental healing in ancient times. Through the ages, people in every continent, climate, and culture have instinctively known that somewhere there resided a healing power that could restore the abilities and functions of a person's body to its normal state of efficiency and good health. They believed that this strange power could be invoked under certain conditions, and that if it were invoked properly, the alleviation of human suffering would follow. The history of all nations presents testimony in support of this belief. In the early history of the world, the power of secretly influencing men for good or evil, including the healing of the sick, was said to be possessed by priests, priestesses, and holy people. They claimed to possess powers derived directly from God that included the healing of the sick. The procedures and processes of healing varied throughout the world, but they generally included supplications and offerings to the god. Various ceremonies such as the laying on of hands and incantations, and the use of amulets, talismans, rings, relics, and images. For example, in the religions of antiquity, priests in the ancient temples gave drugs to patients and practiced hypnotic suggestions as they went to sleep. The patients were they prayed to the goddess, took the portion they had just compounded, and went to sleep. It was if their faith was strong enough, they saw the goddess in a dream. This rite, which sounds so strange, even fantastic to our ears, was often followed by healings. People in ancient times worked out many effective ways to tap the incredible power of the subconscious mind and use it for healing. While they knew that these procedures worked, however, they did not understand how or why they worked. Today, we can see that they were using potent suggestions to the subconscious mind. The rituals and potions and amulets appeal powerfully to the imagination of people and favor the acceptance of the subconscious mind of the insistent suggestions given by the healer. But the work of healing was done by the patient's own subconscious mind. In all ages, unofficial healers have obtained remarkable results in cases where authorized medical skill had failed and the patients had given up hope. This gives cause for thought. How do these healers in all parts of the world affect their cures? The answer is that these healings take place because the blind belief of the sick person released the healing power resident in his or her subconscious mind. The more fantastic and peculiar the remedies and methods used by the healers, the more likely the patients were to believe that anything so strange must be unusually powerful. Their aroused emotional state made it easier for them to accept the suggestion of health in both their conscious and subconscious mind. This point will be discussed at great length in the next chapter. Biblical accounts on the use of the subconscious powers. What things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. Reread this passage, pay close attention to the difference in tenses. I'm going to do this again. What things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. The verbs believe and receive are in the present, but the verb shall have is in the future. The inspired writer is telling us something of the greatest importance by this seemingly minor difference in grammar of the sentence. If we believe and accept as true the fact that our desire has already been accomplished and fulfilled, that it is already completed, then its realization will follow as a thing in the future. The success of this technique relies on the confident conviction that the thought, the idea, the picture is already fact in mind. In order for anything to have substance in the realm of mind, it must be thought of as actually existing. Here in a few cryptic words is a concise and specific direction for making use of the creative power of thought by impressing upon the subconscious the particular thing you desire. Your thought, idea, plan, or purpose is as real on its own plane as your hand or your heart. In following the biblical technique, you completely eliminate from your mind all consideration of conditions, circumstances, or anything that might imply a negative outcome. You're planting a seed concept in the mind that, if you leave it undisturbed, will infallibly germinate into external fruition. The prime condition that Jesus insisted upon was faith. Over and over again, you read in the Bible, according to your faith, it is done unto you. If you plant certain types of seeds in the ground, you have faith they will grow after their kind. This is the way of seeds. And trusting the laws of growth in agriculture, you know that the seeds will come forth after their kind. The faith that is described in the Bible is a way of thinking, an attitude of mind, an inner certitude, knowing that the idea you fully accept in your conscious mind will be embodied in your subconscious mind and made manifest. Faith is, in a sense, accepting as true what your reason and senses deny. It is dozing down, refusing to listen to the little rational, analytical, conscious mind, and embracing an attitude of complete reliance on the inner power of your subconscious mind. Here's one of the best known examples of the biblical technique of healing. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus saith unto them, believe ye that I'm able to do this? They said unto him, Yea, Lord. Then he touched their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. And their eyes were opened. And Jesus straitly charged them, saying, See that no man know it. By saying, According to your faith be it unto you, Jesus was openly appealing to the cooperation of the subconscious mind of the blind men. Their faith was their great expectancy, their inner feeling, their inner conviction, that something miraculous would happen and the prayer would be answered, and therefore it was. This is the time-honored technique of healing, utilized alike by all healing groups throughout the world, regardless of religious affiliation. In saying, see that no man know it, Jesus was urging the healed patients not to discuss their healing with others. If they did so, they might be harassed by the skeptical and derogatory criticisms of the unbelieving. This in turn might have tended to undo the benefits they had received at the hand of Jesus by depositing thoughts of fear, doubt, and anxiety in the subconscious mind. For with authority and power he commandeth the unclean spirits, and they came out. When the sick came to Jesus to be healed, they were healed by their own faith, together with his faith and understanding of the healing power of the subconscious mind. Whatever he decreed, he felt inwardly to be true. He and the people needing help were in the one universal subjective mind, and his silent inner knowing and conviction of the healing power changed the negative destructive patterns in the patient's subconscious. The resultant healings were the automatic response to the internal mental change. His command was his appeal to the subconscious mind of the patients, plus his awareness, feeling, and absolute trust in the response of the subconscious mind to the words that he spoke with authority. Miracles at various shrines throughout the world. On every continent, in every land, there are shrines at which cures take place. Some are world famous. Others are known only to those who live nearby. Whether celebrated or obscure, the healings that happen at these shrines happen for the same reasons and by way of the same powers of the subconscious mind. I have visited several of the famous shrines in Japan. The central focus of the world-renowned shrine of Diabitsu is a gigantic bronze statue, 42 feet tall. It depicts Buddha seated and with folded hands, his head inclined in an attitude of profound contemplative ecstasy. Here I saw young and old making offerings at its feet. Money, fruit, rice, and oranges were offered. Candles were lit, incense were burned, and prayers of petition were recited. I listened to the chant of a young girl as she intoned a prayer, bowed low, and placed 2 oranges as an offering. She was thanking Buddha for restoring her voice. She had lost her voice, but it was restored at the shrine. Her simple faith that Buddha would give her back her singing voice as she followed a certain ritual, fasted, and made certain offerings had helped to kindle faith and expectancy. The result was a conditioning of the mind to the point of her belief. Her subconscious mind then responded to her belief. The power of imagination and blind belief cannot be overstated. A wondrous example of this is the case of a relative of mine in Perth, in Western Australia, who suffered from tuberculosis. His lungs were badly diseased. His son decided to help his father heal himself. He went to his father's home and told him he had recently met a wandering monk with strange powers. This monk had just returned from a long stay at one of the most celebrated healing shrines in Europe. There he had acquired a small fragment of the true cross, set in a ring that dated back to the Middle Ages. Over the centuries, countless sufferers had been healed after touching the ring or the fragment of the cross. When the son had heard that he had told the monk about his father's illness and begged to borrow the ring. The monk had agreed. The son then gave the monk a free will offering of the equivalent of $500. When the son showed his father the ring, the older man practically snatched it from him. He clasped the ring to his chest, prayed silently, and went to sleep. In the morning, he was healed. All the clinic's tests proved negative. Healings of this sort happen all the time. What is most significant about this one is that the son's amazing story was totally made up. In fact, he had picked up a splinter of ordinary wood from the sidewalk, taken it to a jeweler, and had it set in a gold ring of antique design. He then gave it to his father. You know, of course, it was not the splinter of wood from the sidewalk that healed the father. No, it was his imagination aroused to an intense degree, plus the confident expectancy of a perfect healing. Imagination was joined to faith and subjective feeling, and the union of the two brought about a healing through the power of the subconscious mind. The father never learned of the trick that had been played upon him. If he had, he might well have had a relapse. Instead, his tuberculosis never returned. He remained completely cured and passed away from other causes 15 years later at the age of 89. One universal healing principle. It is a well-known fact that all the various schools of healing bring about documented cures of the most wonderful character. The most obvious conclusion that strikes your mind is that there must be some underlying organ and the process that is common to them all. Indeed, there is. The organ of healing is the subconscious mind, and the process of healing is faith. Think deeply about these fundamental truths. You possess mental functions that have been distinguished by designating one, the conscious mind, and the other, the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is constantly amenable to the power of suggestion. Your subconscious mind has complete control over the functions, conditions, and sensations of your body. You surely know that symptoms of almost any disease can be induced in hypnotic subjects by suggestion. For example, a subject in the hypnotic state can develop a high temperature, flushed face, or chills according to the nature of the suggestion given. You can suggest to the person that he is paralyzed and cannot walk, and it will be so. You can hold a cup of cold water under the nose of the hypnotic subject and tell him it is full of pepper, smell it. He will sneeze violently and repeatedly. What do you think caused him to sneeze? The water or the suggestion? If someone tells you he's allergic to Timothy grass, you can place a synthetic flower or an empty glass in front of his nose when he is in a hypnotic state and tell him it is Timothy grass. He will develop his usual allergic symptoms. This shows us that the cause of the symptoms is in the subconscious mind. Curing the symptoms also takes place in the subconscious mind. Different schools of medicine, such as osteopathy, chiropractic, qigong, acupuncture, and neuropathy, all produce remarkable healings. So do the rites and ceremonies of various religious beliefs throughout the world. It is obvious that all these healings are brought about through the subconscious mind, the only healer there is. Notice how the subconscious mind heals a cut on your finger. It knows exactly how to do it. The doctor dresses the wound and says nature heals it. By nature is nothing more than another name for natural law, the law of the subconscious mind. The instinct of self-preservation is the first law of nature, and self-preservation is the foremost function of the subconscious mind. Your strongest instinct is the most potent of all autosuggestions. Let's see. Widely different theories. Many different theories of healing have been advanced by different religious sects and prayer therapy groups. There's a great number who claim that because their practice produces results, their theory therefore must be right. As we've seen in this chapter, this cannot be correct. As you know, there are many varieties of healing. Franz Anton Mesmer, an Australian physician who practiced in Paris, discovered that by applying magnets to a diseased body, he could cure that disease miraculously. He also performed cures with various other pieces of glass and metal. Later, he abandoned the use of the objects in favor of passing his hands over the patient's body. He claimed that the real source of his cures was what he called animal magnetism. He theorized that some mysterious magnetic substance was transmitted from the healer's hands to the patient. Mesmer lent his name to the method of treating disease, which came to be called mesmerism. Today, we know it as hypnotism. Other physicians, jealous of Mesmer's success, claimed that all his healings were due to suggestion and nothing else. When pressed, however, they had to admit that they did not know how his power of suggestion created such amazing effects. All of these groups, psychiatrists, psychologists, osteopaths, chiropractors, physicians, and religious groups of every variety, are using the one universal resident in the subconscious mind. Each may proclaim the healings are due to their theory, but the truth is far different. The process of all healing is a definite positive mental attitude and inner attitude, or a way of thinking called faith. Healing is due to a confident expectancy that acts as a powerful suggestion to the subconscious mind, releasing its healing potency. One person does not heal by a different power than another. It is true that both may have their own theories or methods, but there is only one process of healing, and that is faith. There's only one healing power, namely your subconscious mind. Select whatever theory, belief, and method that calls out to you. You can rest assured if you have faith, you will get results. All right, we will pause there for now. And hello, looks like several people joined us since we got started. Happy to have you. If I've cut in and out multiple times, I apologize. Cox, the cable company that we're working with, is doing some work over here and trying to fix it, but they've had trouble for a while. So I'm doing the best that I can for you, and I apologize. Luckily, though, you can go back and review the recordings, and it seems to be most of what I say is on the recordings. All right, so what are we going to do at this point in time? This is our opportunity to share the things we would like to share and or ask whatever questions we would like to ask. So let me quickly tell you what is appropriate. As far as sharing what you'd like to share, anything in relationship to what we just went over today, that would be awesome. like something you learned, maybe something you were reminded of, maybe an aha moment for you. Anything in relationship to what we've gone over in the past as a group, and or anything as far as sharing what would be awesome is if that we have gone over together in the past, and or anything in relationship to adding more money and wealth in your life. And I think I just paused out for a second there. As far as questions, anything in relationship to adding more money and wealth in your life. Okie dokie. So what you do at this point is you would just come off of mute and start sharing what you'd like to share, or asking whatever question you would like to ask. And here's your time to do that. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do I know that this is my subconscious mind is speaking or my conscious mind? How do I distinguish between those two? I know your beliefs and your convictions and all those are in the subconscious mind. So how do I know the difference that this thought is coming from conscious mind? No, this is from subconscious mind.
Okay. Well, first of all, what are you talking in relationship to? Usually a thought that comes to us is triggered by something, okay? Conscious or subconscious. You know, as none of us are really capable 100% of making our mind quiet 100% of the time, or even for very longer than a few moments usually, unless we've been trained. And even then it's definitely a challenge. So when you say is a thought coming, like right now I'm talking to you and I'm thinking, right? And I'm answering a question. Sometimes I'll pause for a moment and I will actually, or even in my thinking, I'm asking a prayer of God and the universe to actually help me answer a question. Or I pray ahead of time before I come into a meeting like this, asking God to help me be a conduit for helping answer people's questions. So a memory of, okay, tell them this, it wasn't something I'd intended to say, or it's like a totally new thought. Like I'm listening to a person, they're asking a question, or we're going in detail on coaching, and all of a sudden I pause for a moment. They might still be talking, but I'll pause and I will get this feeling or this impression of what to say. And almost every time it's exactly what was needed to be said. So for me, that's subconscious, that's intuition, inspiration, revelation. But my regular ongoing thoughts, I look at it this way. If they're negative thoughts, they certainly aren't going to come from God in the universe, okay? If they're negative thoughts, they're probably going to come from subconscious programming, though, because I've allowed myself to say those things over and over and over again, and they've now become part of my habitual way of thinking. So that is a subconscious, but that's not a connection. I think the better question to ask is not whether I know it's my subconscious mind or my conscious mind. The better question to ask, and then I'll give you the answer to it, is am I hearing this from God in the universe, or am I talking to myself? Okay? Because your subconscious can bring up good things for sure, but your subconscious mind will also bring up bad things. It just reflects back its programming. So when you're trying to change your life and manifest something that you want, and you felt the peace and comfort that God and the universe are on your side in doing it, your subconscious mind still might chatter back at you, because your subconscious mind has a program in opposition to what you want. So it's going to talk in the negative form against what it is that you want. That doesn't mean that God and the universe didn't already supply you with the answer and said you should move forward through this. It just means that your programming has not been accepted as normal for you yet. So again, I don't concern myself whether it's a subconscious thought or a conscious thought. I concern myself more with, do I or do I not receive inspiration, intuition, and revelation so that I can follow through with what God and the universe are trying to help me accomplish to get where I want to get to or receive what I want to receive.
Okay.
Does that help at all?
Yeah. Yeah. I lost you somewhere. You were cut out. You were breaking up a bit, but yeah. So suppose hypothetically, if somebody, you have some negative feeling, somebody who has hurt you, and you have negativity towards that person, and you want to change that to positivity by letting it go and forgiving it, that's a conscious mind. Is that right? So now with that conscious thoughts,
Yeah.
then you're trying to train your subconscious mind to reprogram it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're wanting, because again, your natural state, because this you were hurt by this person, you now have a program in you that is in opposition to being around that person, listening to that person, like that person. So it's challenging for you. So yes, you will have to make a conscious decision that you want to change your subconscious programming. Okay. Yeah. Think of it as, I've never done this, but imagine, because I know where some of us, grew up in different parts of the world. And let's say we're able to drive a car where we grew up. Well, here in the United States of America, we drive on the right side. But if I were to go to England, for instance, and I wanted to drive around, I would have to drive on the opposite side of the road. Now, my ability to drive at a subconscious level would still exist, but I would actually have to pay attention to staying on the correct side of the road for that country in order not to end up in an accident, right? So you can take something and make a change, and I can tell myself, hey, look, I'm in England right now. When I'm in England, I drive on the left side of the road. Right. When I'm in the United States, I drive on the right. Even though I've only driven on the right side of the road my entire life, I can train myself, but I'm going to have to put thought and effort into it for a while. And I'm probably going to be a slightly more dangerous driver for a while. Okay. Until my subconscious accepts that idea, and then it takes over and goes on autopilot for me. It's no big deal anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Any additional questions or comments? Hello. I think you guys can hear me, but I'm not 100% sure.
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was just asking if anybody else would like to share something or ask some additional questions.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, awesome.
So in order to work on the subconscious mind, I used to have this playlist that I used to listen to overnight. And it seems like my body just like, my brain and my body is just like, forget you. Like, I want to sleep. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions? I know that in one of the books, I'm not sure if it's in this one, there's things that you should repeat like right before you go to sleep. And so that helps. But any other suggestions?
Well, if you're wanting something to play while you're sleeping, first of all, number one best thing you can actually probably listen to is your own voice, number one, even if you don't like it. Okay. But you don't have to play it loud at all. You just barely enough it does need to be audible, but just barely enough to hear it. However, there are a lot of people that use that and they're trying to rely on that, so they don't do much more. So it's like, well, if I do that every day when I go to bed, 3 months from now, I'll be a millionaire. Not so much likely to happen, because there's more that you're going to likely need to do to impress your subconscious mind to get it to accept the new idea. So I'm not necessarily, I've tried these different things you're talking about, and I've had little bits of boosts here and there, but not any like really lasting type thing. The better thing to do is what I would call spaced repetition. And what I would do at the very minimum is I would take 5, 10, 15 minutes when I first wake up, before I hop out of bed, okay, before I actually do, I don't look at my phone, right? I don't do anything to distract myself at first. And then I'll take 5, 10 to 15 minutes and go into talking, self-talk, but also visualization of the life that I'm working on creating, as if it already is right now. It's not out in the future. I am living it right now. So I do that. I'm not always perfect at it, but I do that almost each morning before I actually physically get up and start checking the phone, internet, this, that, or the other. So because I'm still in kind of that drowsier state, and it's a little more easy to get in the subconscious. Then the other time, I'll do it multiple times, but another time I'll do it is right before I go to bed. Matter of fact, my wife can vouch for this the other night, because she started to talk to me when I was in the middle of doing that. I said, "Hun, I'm actually in my meditation process right now for that 10 to 15. And she understood what I meant. She's like, okay, go do that. Okay. But I did the same thing because I'm tired, and sometimes I fall asleep before I'm really fully finished, but I'm still doing that. Now, what I've learned to do is go, okay, when I'm not busy doing anything, I don't have anything at the moment that I need to be doing that's pressing on my mind and my life, instead of going and doing kind of needless thinking, instead of popping on a TV show, right? Instead of just jumping onto Facebook or whatever most of us are doing with our free time, which we don't consider free time, we just pop on all the time, right? But when those times come up, I like to go back, this is for me, and go lay down or sit in a comfortable chair and do the same thing. I may never completely fall asleep. So I might do this process multiple times throughout the day. I find the more I do it, the faster things tend to come to me. But I don't do it as like I'm trying to push and come and make it go faster. I'm doing it because I always come out of it feeling more refreshed and feeling good. And I also come out of it, and a lot of times that's when God and the universe give me some kind of inkling of, okay, Kevin, here's your next thing to go do. So my recommendation is do it as much as you can. How much is that? Well, it depends on what you want to accomplish. If you are an athlete getting ready for your season, let's say you're an NBA basketball player, right? And you're getting ready for the season, you will have what they refer to as a training camp. Why do almost all professional sports, or getting ready for Olympics or whatever, why do they have training camps? Even though these people already, probably know how to do their sport. Well, they have the training camps because they also have had some time off usually, and they're not in their best peak performance state. But they find that they can bring people together for a month to 2 months, put them on a routine, and get them to their peak state. Well, a lot of people, when they start learning about law of attraction and reprogramming themselves, they do okay because, I'll watch some YouTube videos, I'll read a book, I'll hop on with Kevin, whatever it is that you happen to be doing, but you don't treat it the same way. I'll keep it brief, but for me personally, I did a couple things. One, I decided to get some additional training. I went through a seminar. It was 3 days, but it wasn't just the 3-day seminar. If that's all I'd done, I wouldn't be where I am. Okay. What I did after that is I continued on, got some additional coaching and help from people that actually knew how to apply this so I could move faster. But also what I did is I put myself into a state of 2 to 3 hours of learning about how all this works. And I did that for a period of about a month and a half to 2 months. But what happened for me, because I had my training camp, because I made it intentional that I wanted to change me quickly and not slowly, I went to that seminar middle of February of 2006. By the time March 31st, 2006 had rolled around, I was able to quit my job. And from May 1st through the end of the year, December 31st, my income went up to $50,000 a month, which previously it had been $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Also, I had been used to working 50, 60 hours a week. Now I only had to work 15 to 20 hours a week. How was I able to do that? I worked with a coach, I got trained, and I treated it like it was training camp. And I got my subconscious mind to accept it quicker because I wasn't putting opposing thoughts and images against it. See, if you only think about this for 30 minutes or an hour a day, now you got to deal with the rest of the world afterwards. And it doesn't stop on you. So it keeps trying to feed you whatever it's thinking. Your family that you live with is feeding you what it's thinking. The surroundings of your job are feeding you. You know, the news is feeding you. All these other things are feeding you ideas. And your conscious mind can accept or reject those ideas. But eventually, if it's rejecting it, but the conscious mind is constantly being hit, the conscious mind is actually going to put its guard down, and that's going to get programmed into your subconscious mind. So I made up my mind that I only wanted, for that period of time, I only wanted to put into my mind things that were going to help me get what I want, and I was going to work on that being my thought process. So the way to do that is to not think, I don't want to think about this. It's, I do want to think about this. And I had to learn another thing too. I had to learn to ignore my 5 senses. I had to quit looking at what my 5 senses gave to me as feedback, because my 5 senses was just showing me the outward expression of what my thoughts had been. So my bank account, it wasn't good looking at that because that was the feedback. Where I was living wasn't good to think, but here I am. You're like, well, then how do I do it? I'm in the middle of all of it. I need to go away from my 5 senses and go more into my imagination, because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between good, bad, right, and wrong, and something that was in the past, the present, or the future. If it's a thought to the subconscious mind, it's always the present. Okay. And I needed to take what I wanted my lifestyle to be like and go spend my time in imagination. So I did 1 of 2 things during those 2 to 3 hours a day. I was either studying and learning about myself, how my mind worked, how the law of attraction and the other laws of the universe work, and what is the formula for manifesting more money and wealth in my life. So I was either studying those things and learning about them, which if that's what I'm thinking about, that's what's going to come to me. And then the other thing I did is I spent a ton of time living in my life, in my imagination, the way I wanted to live, as if it was already happening right now. And it only took a little while. And then what you have to do after that is, as you start having some successes, what some people will do, I made this mistake, and I've learned since then, is when things start going good for you, that doesn't mean you understand this. That just means you're starting to gain a little traction with your subconscious mind. But if you don't stay in that state and you don't continue on, it will revert back at some point if you now shut out your own input and you allow the world's input all back in on top of you. So here I was, more money, more time. And over a little bit of time, I got lazier and lazier and lazier on my own subconscious, working to keep it programmed the way I wanted. And things started to dip. Now, they never dipped to where they were before, thank goodness, before I caught it. But it's like, why did I have to go through that? I didn't have to go through that. What I did is I started listening to the news again. I started watching crap that I shouldn't have been watching anymore. I quit taking responsibility and control for my life and what I was thinking, and allowed the outside world to once again dominate. Then Bob Proctor, I got to know him pretty well and recognized why Bob Proctor has stayed in this material every day of his life for 60 years. He was given a book called Think and Grow Rich. Now, it's not the book that did this, okay? It's a very good book. It helped, okay? He got coaching and he went through the Think and Grow Rich. He was given to him when he was 26, 27 years old back in 1961. But Bob Proctor has done something that none of us have done, I bet, okay? I bet you there's not one person on this call who's done what Bob Proctor did, which is this. He has studied that book every day of his life since he received it. Now, it's not strictly the book, okay? He has other books that once he got those, he now studies those too. He's read thousands of books, but he has a foundation of about a dozen that he repeats constantly over and over and over again. He might stay on the same page for a week until he feels like it is subconscious. Not that he can repeat it. It's not about memorization. It's not about parroting, but to where it's like, that is my belief system. My subconscious has accepted everything right here that I wanted to accept. And it is now autopilot. But he will still go back and read that book a little bit every day, because he understands that there's outside influences that if you don't choose what goes in, those outside influences, if you get lazy, will become your programming.
What's the name of that book?
Think and Grow Rich.
Thinking what?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Okay,
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But again, phenomenal book. It's not even my favorite one. Mine happens to be The Science of Getting Rich. And that turned into one of Bob's favorites too. It's just Think and Grow Rich was the one that was given to him first. But it wasn't just the book. It was the mentorship and training and coaching that he got to help him apply. But what happened to him is his income back in 1961 was $4,000 a year. He owed $6,000 in debt. So that's 18 months he'd have to work and receive no money to pay off his debt, which he couldn't do that. But when he got the training, started doing what his mentor and coach told him to do, and followed through with it, within 12 months, his income had risen to around $15,000 a month. So he went from $4,000 a year to $15,000 a month. Huge, huge, huge thing. But he was putting a lot of effort into reprogramming himself so that he would then receive, and he was doing what his coach and mentor and trainer was telling him to do. Every one of you guys, gals, can do the same thing. You all have the ability to do it.
Is it the name? Is it by Napoleon Hill?
It is.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Okay. Any additional questions or comments before we wrap up today?
I just wanted to know, how do we get the recording of these sessions that you have done in the past? I have no idea.
So you missed the very beginning where I told everybody. Okay. I'll point it out to you guys so you can see here really quick.
Okay.
Hang on a second. What you're going to do is, we have a Facebook group, and it has the same name as our meetup. Live Law of Attraction, Money, Wealth, and Success Training. So go into your account and start typing that in and find us. Or if you want, you can go to facebook.com / the word groups is plural / money manifesting coach is one word. So facebook.com / groups / money manifesting coach.com. And typically within 24 to 48 hours, we will take it and it'll be posted. Like there's yesterday, and there's the day before, and there's last Friday, and so on and so forth.
Okay, I'll try it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any final questions or comments?
Just one real quick question. I don't want to hog on to that, but what's your thought about karmas? like I believe there's a free will. Again, I'm talking about belief. That's maybe that's my subconscious. Um, that there's a free will. Yes, we can change anything and everything, what's happening, but we are still driven by the, what we have put in our account, in our life accounts.
Yeah. Well. So let's look.
That's that's your karmas that you accumulate from. I don't know if you believe in reincarnation or not. That's birth after birth after birth. So we come. That's why we behave the way we behave, because we have those things already programmed in our subconscious mind. So we have to break that one up to, and then reprogram it.
Sure.
But I think that there are certain people cannot change it. They don't even realize it that they need to change it, and they are into that cycle, vicious cycle, or whatever cycle you want to call it as. They just are just going over and over the same thing and don't even realize that they need to get out of it. They're miserable.
Mhm.
So I
Sounds like
believe
you
that there
describe
are
most
some
of the world.
karmas. Yeah, there, huh?
Sounds like you describe most of the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I think there are karmas too that we have accumulated, that we are born with those convictions and beliefs from our previous births as well, and not only this birth, but and that's why we lead the kind of life we do, and we have obstructions, and then we realize it. So that realization also comes because of our karmas.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just live in dark, and
So,
that free will
yeah.
has no meaning. That's
Look.
that's why when you're talking about attracting money,
Mhm.
something they say that if the money has to come in your life, whether it is your through free will or karmas, it's gonna come. Nobody can stop it. Any good deeds or whatever has to come, it will. Nobody can stop. You are the only person who can stop it or not. And if it doesn't mean to come, it will be just taken away, right? Even if it is front of you. So I don't know. What's your thought about that part?
Well, here's my thought based upon, let's just go strictly back to the power of your subconscious. I have a lot of beliefs, okay? And I have beliefs that would actually be very much in alignment with certain things that you believe, and then other beliefs that maybe don't. Sure. But here's what I ultimately would say right now, okay? Because based on what you just said, if you, I'm just going to say, quote unquote, get it in this life, meaning whatever lesson you're supposed to learn, if you get that lesson in this life and you are reincarnated, you won't have to go through this again.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
So let's just stop right there for a moment and go, okay, I'm not even going to concern myself with the past or the future because I can only live in the now. What I do now will decide my karma for the future, if that's how you choose to believe it, right? Therefore, I want it to be the best it can be right now. Therefore, I'm going to learn what I can, and what I do know is this, or I'm learning about, which is the subconscious mind is not God. Okay, first of all, some people will, just to help everybody, the subconscious mind is a function that was given to us, I believe, by God in the universe, but it's not God himself, okay, or herself, or however you choose to believe. It is a way that we will connect with source, whatever we believe source to be. But the subconscious mind, since it does function in a certain way, and when you do certain things with it, you get certain results by doing those things. If my subconscious mind does have the power to attract to me a better physical body, or a healing, or more money, or whatever it is that I feel like I want to have, and I feel good about it, then I'm going to understand that, look, if I can change the current program I have, and what happens when I'm successful at doing that is my subconscious mind now makes sure that it happens and puts it on autopilot for me. I want to understand it, right? Why do we go to schools and universities, colleges, or whatever? Sometimes we do it just because we want to get jobs or have careers, but we go out and learn things because we have an interest. And typically we want to learn something to get a particular result. We want to learn about it, and we want to understand something, hopefully to apply what we've learned so that we can have a better life. I would say this, given the fact that we do have the ability to make choices, And we do have the ability to talk to ourselves in a positive way or a negative way. We do have the ability to program our subconscious mind the way we want it to be programmed versus the way it's been programmed so far. And I'm not saying all things that we believe are bad programs. That's certainly not true. Here's the programs that are bad, okay? If you truly want something and it's a good thing and God and the universe are cool with you having it, but your subconscious mind doesn't think it's a good thing, then that is a program you need to change subconsciously. So God and the universe, the subconscious mind has a purpose. Its purpose is to keep us alive, keep us safe, and help us master things, okay? And it's our connection to God and the universe, our way of getting our inspiration, intuition, and revelation that we receive as guidance from whatever we choose to believe is our God and our source. That's the subconscious mind's purpose. Well, it does a pretty good job of keeping us alive, okay? Because we're all here right now, so we're all alive today. We may not think our life's the greatest, but we are currently alive, or we couldn't even be on this meeting, okay? So job number one, it did it successfully. Job number two, keep you safe. Problem is with that is it's very good at it, but its definition of safe is different than our definition of safe. You go to the subconscious mind, it has a different dictionary. You go to the word safe and subconscious mind, it says, what is normal? Okay, great. But its definition of what is normal,
Happy to help.
Its definition of what is normal is also different. Okay. Its definition of what is normal is what you have allowed to come into the subconscious mind and have accepted. Even if it's because it doesn't know good, bad, right, or wrong. So if it thinks that your life that you're living right now is normal, which 100% that's what it does, the physicalness around you, the life you're living right now, is a reflection of your past thinking. Your current thinking will catch up days, weeks, months from now. Okay, so all the good that you're putting in right now will show up. You just might not see it necessarily today immediately. Some of it you can, but until your subconscious mind's programming catches up. But it wants what's normal. Well, unfortunately, if it thinks normal is safe and what's normal for a person is that they're broke and have no money, subconscious mind goes, okay, that's what's normal, therefore it must be safe. And then it goes back to, well, you're still alive, therefore that's true. Let me take one that's maybe a better example, a relationship, a bad relationship, the type where it's physically abusive relationship, like a person in your life physically hurts you every single day. Well, subconscious mind doesn't know good, bad, right, or wrong. It accepts what it thinks is normal. So it says, well, is this a normal thing for you? Yes, it's normal. Did it kill you? No, you're still alive, must be good. So now you're trying to go out, change relationships and want to run into people that will treat you well. And the weird thing is the subconscious mind goes, that is different. Anything that's different and new to the subconscious mind, it wants to reject it first. It wants to reject it because it doesn't know if it's safe or not. It doesn't know if it will harm you or not. So you have to get your subconscious mind to accept that whatever it is that you want to be different about your life, your subconscious mind has to accept that as your new normal. Because then it takes the definition and goes, oh, that's what's normal. Therefore, that's what's safe. Therefore, that's the best thing for me to do for you. And if you successfully do that, well, you will have to successfully do it for everything that you come in contact with that is in opposition to your current programming. And it doesn't really matter how you got your current programming any longer. It only matters that you can change it and that you change what comes in. Because if it is your current environment that supports your current programming and you want it different, you need to make the decision consciously that you want something different. That's the start. Until you make a decision that you want it to be different and that you're willing to go through the process, it's not going to change. That person in an abusive relationship, maybe that relationship will end, but the next person they end up with, unfortunately, is going to treat them very similar because the subconscious mind says, I need to go find people that are very similar to the one that you ended up with last time, because that's the closest thing to safe and normal I can find for you. I don't know if I cut out. I'm not sure if you guys could hear me.
Oh,
But.
thank you. No.
So karma or not karma, for now, I want to make sure that I learn as much as I can and produce the best life that I can. And hopefully when this life passes on and I move on to the next, I will have learned whatever I'm supposed to learn so I get to live a better life. How's that?
No, that I understand that's there, but I think every human being is also confined in his or her efforts.
Nobody, and that's your belief. That's what your subconscious has accepted. So if you keep that as the belief that you're confined, then your subconscious says that's normal. Therefore, it must keep you confined.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, you can free yourself, but I'm just talking in general for people that if they are into it.
I'm not concerned. I don't concern myself with all the other people in the world, other than my purpose in life is to help as many people as I can understand what I now understand, so they can make their own choices and have their own life that they want, instead of being confined by their subconscious current programming. I want to show people that there are ways that God and the universe function and the way the mind functions, and you can learn how to get the results you actually want.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. Yes, I do. And that's what we have to realize it and just put behind everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Focusing too much on what's going on around us through other people. Yeah. That is feedback through our five senses of most of what we don't want.
Yeah.
That's why I ignore it. Not that I ignore people, not that I don't care. I just realize that, you know what, the ones like yourself that are showing up in my life, they're the ones that I can help. The rest of the world out there, if I get to them, I can help them.
Yeah, but you're dealing with the people who are not into that kind of awareness.
Not yet, but guess what? I'm 52 years old. If I go back 16 years ago, I was in my mid-30s before I figured this out.
That's still pretty smart, yeah.
Right? It took me 30-something years, 35, whatever the number was, for me to finally make the change. Some people, it's going to take 50 or 60. Some people, they may not get it in this time, in this lifetime. Some people are going to pick this up as children. Matter of fact, they have.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to be awesome. Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what they're doing. They of the world don't impact my results unless I allow it to.
So how do you deal with the people around you? Do you cut yourself out from them who are not on the same wavelength where you are?
That naturally happens when you go. You make decisions, but if I make a decision, let's say I'm in a job environment where every day my boss is telling me, I'm just being a little crude here, Kevin, you're an ass, right? Kevin, I hate you. Kevin, I wish you weren't working for us. And that's my environment every day. Well, I got two choices. One, I could keep going back to work there every day if I want to, because I think the money is worth more than the abuse. Or I could say, doesn't work for me, I'm out of here. Or I could go meditate a little bit. I could go think of this person nicely. I can put out good thoughts towards this person. They may or may not change. But funny thing, what might happen is the company might transfer him or the company might transfer me. If we're not in vibration with something, it eventually gets out of our life anyway. So here's the thing. This is for everybody. Learn this lesson. If you keep being surrounded by people that bring you down, you attracted it.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So you can also you don't change them, you change
yourself. Yes.
Yeah, because they won't even be in your life.
Yeah.
That's how you're vibrating. You're only around these people because you're vibrating on their level. And that's why they keep showing up for you, or you have to stick around them. You might be like, family, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. True, but even family choose how much time they do or don't spend around each other. A lot of times family will move to different cities. I've got a family where we get together and do things, but we don't all believe exactly the same around this stuff, but the ones that feel the same about it, I actually spend more time with, and vice versa. and it happens pretty naturally. I don't have to really say much about it.
Yeah.
Kind of how it unfolded. When I made the changes, certain members of my family are like, that's awesome. And certain families are like, how do you make money? You have no job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's just the vibration you create the things around. So yeah, whatever you want, you create according. So if something unpleasant is happening, you created, you attracted it.
Yeah. And it's best that we accept that, because until we accept we have that power,
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah,
But
we are
once
the creator of our own destiny. No question
There you
about
go.
it. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. Thank you for re-emphasizing those. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okie dokie. I will let you folks go, and I hopefully will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.